Welcome to the Math Record. Today we will be covering the CCML Algebra 1 Contest 3 2016-2017 Division A. Okay, question 1. The slope of the line passing through the points 2 minus a, comma 3, and 4, comma 5 plus 2a is 4. Determine the value of a. So the slope is just the change in x over change in y over the change in x. So change in y is 5 plus 2a minus 3, so that's 2 plus 2a. 2a plus 2. Okay, let's put it over that. And then we have 4 minus parentheses 2 minus a, so that gets a plus 2 equal to 4, which is the slope. So then you get 2a plus 2 is equal to 4a plus 8, multiplying a plus 2 for both sides. So you get negative 6 is equal to 2a, so a is equal to negative 3. Basically just that simple. Question 2. What are the coordinates of the point that is exactly halfway between negative 2, 9 and 5, 14? Let's kind of write this out. So negative 2, 9 and 5, 14. To get from negative 2 to 5, you just got to add 7. So halfway for that is plus 3.5. And 9 to 14 is going to 5. So you just have to add half of that, which is 2.5. So add 3.5 to the x and 2.5 to the y to this point. So you get 1.5 and 11.5. So that's your answer, 11.5 and 1.5 and 11.5. Question 3. What is the x-intercept of the lines whose slope is 2/3 and passes through the point 5, 8? Write your answer as a coordinate pair. So let's kind of write the form. So the slope is 2/3 x. And now you kind of think plus b. And now if we have, it goes through the point 5, 8, kind of plug that in. So you'll put 8 is equal to 5 times 2/3 is 10 over 3 plus b. So b is equal to, multiply this by 3, that's 24. So this is 14 all over 3. Okay. So we know b is now 14 over 3. Plugging that back in. No, 3. So find the x-intercept is when y is equal to 0. So negative 14 over 3 is equal to 2/3 x. And multiply by 3 over 2 to the other side. That cancels this out, and this makes negative 7. So x is equal to negative 7. So it will be negative 7, 0 as the as coordinate pair. So this would be your answer. Question 4. Determine the equation of the line parallel to the y-axis that passes through the point negative 3, 4. So imagine a point like here, so negative 3, 4, right? And it has to be parallel to this line right here. So basically, it's just gonna go through this. So it's gonna be x is equal to basically that point, which is negative 3, because it has to go through negative 3. So that's your equation. Y is equal to negative 3. Okay, number 5. Compute the distance between the two lines y is equal to x and y is equal to x plus 2. So it looks like this. So yeah, y is equal to x, and sorry about that. Goes to the origin, and then another one that's like this. So basically, let's just kind of look for a perpendicular slope and then find 2 points and then basically going through that. So we're just gonna go with the perpendicular slope for since the slope is 1, the perpendicular slope would just be negative 1. So a perpendicular slope would just say y equals negative x because it's just negative 1. So y equals negative x, and we draw a picture. It kind of looks like this. Sorry. Right, and then it goes through a point like right here. So it goes through 0, 0, and for y is equal to negative x, and y is x intersect at 0, 0, and y equals negative x. Let's plug into here. So that's negative x is equal to x plus 2. So negative 2x is equal to 2, so x is equal to negative 1. So if x is negative 1, you can plug it back in here and you get 1. So it intersects at 1, 1. So the distance formula is just y, the x minus the y. So negative 1 minus 0 is negative 1. Square that. Plus 1 minus 0 is just 1. And square that. Then square root the entire thing to get the distance. So that's 1 plus 1, which is basically just 2. So it's just square root 2. The answer is just square root 2, the distance. Okay, question 6. What is the least common multiple of 24, 70, and 108? Since this is a calculator contest, I just recommend you to know how to understand like where your calculator has this like factor button. So you just have a number for factor 24. You get 2 to the third times 3. Factor 70. You can also do this by hand, but just make sure you're not making any mistakes. And factor 1008, which is 2 to the 4 times 3 to the 2 times 7. So the LCM is that it has to include like basically all the possible numbers. So it has 2 to the 4 because that's the higher amount of 2's. You need 3 to the 2 because that's the highest amount of 3's. You need a 5, and you need a 7. And all these numbers can be made from these numbers. From this, the least common one. So 2 to the 4 times 3 to the 2 times 5 times 7 is equal to 5040. 5040. That's your answer. Really simple. There are also programs that you could probably like download into your calculator that probably solves it for you also. Or there might be one already in there. A line perpendicular to y is equal to 2x passes through the point 1, 2. Determine the area of the region bounded by these two lines and y. 4x is 4x minus 7y is equal to 20. So let's just write our lines first. So the two line is you already have one of the lines, so y is equal to 2x. The perpendicular line would be y is equal to negative 1/2 x because opposite and reciprocal. So opposite is negative 2, reciprocal is negative 1, makes it negative 1/2 x. And it goes through the point 1, 2, so it's be negative 1/2. 2 is 4 over 2, which is equal to 2, simplified. So if this is negative 1/2 plus something is equal to 4 over 2, it has to be 5 over 2. So do some kind of mental math. So if you plug in here, that's 4 over 2. Plug 1 over for x, you get 4 over 2, and 4 over 2 is just 2, so that works. So and they intersect at the point 1, 2. I have that one for now. And then we're gonna have the last one, which is 4 is y is equal to let's just kind of rewrite this. So we have 4x 4 over 7x. Just move 7 to the other side and move 20 to this side. So you have 4 over 7 x minus 20 over 7 is equal to y, basically. And now you just had to find out when these point intersect. Actually, let's kind of write this in this form here because it's easier. So we're gonna have, let's write this to the other side. So we have negative 2x plus y is equal to 0. And you have our original. So the other, to get a perpendicular slope, if you have it in this form, what you do is that you change the coefficients for the x and the y, and then you make the y negative. So what you do is that you put x, since this is 1, you have 1 here, and then you change this, so y would be negative 2, and then negative of negative 2, which is plus 2, is equal to 0. See how that works? Because that's negative 1 and then negative 1/2. And this would be 2, and that's 2. The slope is 2, and this negative 1/2, so it works out. So it goes through this. I'm sorry that I wrote a 0. And it has to go through the point 1, 2. So that's 1 and 2, so that's 5. So that's basically how you find it. And then you have 4, 7 minus 5 equals 20. And then you could basically, these two equations, the negative 2x plus y equals 0 and x plus 2y equals to 5, they intersect at 1, 2. So I already got 1 point. Now let's find the one between negative 2x plus y is equal to 0 and 4x minus 7y is equal to 20. So multiply the first one by 2, so you get 4x plus 2y is equal to 0. Add them together, so you get negative 5y is equal to 20. So y will equal to negative 4. So the next coordinate will have negative 4 as the y. plugging it back in the first equation, that gets y is equal to negative, x is equal to -2, basically. Yeah. And now you just have to find the last point, which is between x plus 2y. X plus 2y is equal to 5, and 4y minus 7, 4x minus 7y is equal to 20. So multiply the first equation by -4, so you get -4x. I mean, the second equation by -4. -4x minus 8y is equal to -20. Adding that together, you get that y is equal to actually 0. Because like this is cancel out and this will cancel out, so that's 0. So no matter what that is, that's gotta be 0. So we got 5, 0 as our last point, basically. Now we just need to find the area. So we're gonna use something called the shoelace theorem. It basically gets an area of from basically points and add them, and then like if you have like 3 points, right, it's gonna get an area like this. It gets the area inside. If you have 4 points like this, right, it's gonna just make like this and yes, that. So that's how you do it. It's just make sure that it's not crossing over. So that's what we're gonna do in here. So those are our 3 points. So let's kind of draw a picture first. So we have 5, 0 somewhere here, and we have -2, 4. So -2 here, -2, 4. Okay, and 1, 2. So somewhere here. Okay. So how we're gonna write the points is 5, 0, 1, 2, and then 2, -4. Okay. Since we already got this kind of in the right order, let's just kind of move this down. Okay. So basically, you're gonna write in this order, and you're gonna have click this again, and you're gonna have 5, 0 again right here. So you gotta write it in this order, because you want to start with the rightmost point, which is 5, 0, and then go to counterclockwise. So you got 1, 2, and then you gotta get -2, 4, and then go back to the first point. Okay, let's move this over. We're just gonna have to find the area now. So basically, what you're gonna do for the shoelace theorem is the second part is that you're gonna use the matrix. So you're gonna use each 2 points, like this point first, and then these points here, and then these points basically. Then that's how you're gonna do it. So you're gonna have 5 times 2 is 10, minus 1 times 0 is 0. So it's 10 minus 0. And then you have -4 minus -4, so that's plus 4. And 0 minus -20, so it's plus 20. This cancels out. This has nothing and this has nothing, so that's just 30. And then multiply this by whatever the remaining is, multiply by half, and that will get you the area, which is 15. So the answer for number 7 is 15. Number 8. A lattice point is a point whose x-coordinate and y-coordinates are integers. Determine the number of lattice points in quadrant 2 that lies on the line with x-intercept. Wait. In quadrant 2 that lie on the line with x-intercept of -17.20 that is parallel to 5x minus 4y is equal to 2. So for it to be parallel to it, basically what you're going to do is that it has to be, it's going to have the same numbers, so 5x minus 4y, but you're going to change this number, the c, basically. So it's not going to be 2. So you just plug in those coordinates into that equation. So 5 times -17.2 is -86. So you write -86 because y is going to be 0, so it's just going to cancel it out. So we have -86 for this. So determine the number of lattice points in quadrant 2 that lie on this line. So let's kind of get this in the right form. So you get add 4y to the other side and then add this here. So you have 5x plus 8. 86 is equal to 4y. So you have 5 fourth x plus 86 over 4 is equal to y, basically. So actually, let's kind of write it out in this way. It'll be easier. Yeah, 1/4 50x plus 80. 1/4 x 5x plus 86 is equal to y. Okay. So based on this equation, we just need to find the amount of coordinate pairs that kind of go through this. So let's kind of draw a picture out to determine how this works. So basically, you're gonna have a point at -17, 0 right here, and it's gonna have a positive slope. So it's gonna go something like this. So there is a limited amount in quadrant 2, because this is quadrant 2. Or if you want to write in the correct notations like this. So basically we just have to find these points in here. So it's gonna go from so we only have to check from that x coordinate, which is negative 17.2, to to this right here. So that's 0. So we only have to check from this range, from negative 17.2 to 0. So we have to make for this to for x to be, we're just gonna plug in integers for x, and we're gonna make sure that 5x plus 8y is divisible by 4. So if this is divisible by 4, then technically y will also be an integer. So basically we just need to find kind of integers. So and the integer higher than 17.2 is negative 17. So we could just start plugging in like values and see which ones work. So okay, we have, let's just put this in our calculator to make sure we're gonna get like integers. You could kind of make a spreadsheet, or you can make an equation and just start checking points basically. Okay, so you have negative 17, negative 16, negative 15, negative 14, negative 13, negative 12, negative 11, negative 10, negative 9, negative 8, negative 7, negative 6, negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, and negative 1. You can't have 0 because 0 is not going to be on the 0 is going to be on the y-axis, so it's not going to be on a coordinate. And based on all your points, the only integers is when it's negative 14, 4, negative 10, 9, and negative 6, 14, and negative 2, 19. Okay, so those are all your points basically from here. So question is asking determine the number of lattice points. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have 4 lattice points. So your answer is just 4. Okay. Question number 9. The mean of a set of 3 numbers. Uh, the mean of a set of 3 numbers is 25. When 2 more numbers are added to the set, the mean is 30. What's the average of the 2 numbers? So basically, the mean of the 3 numbers is 75. So basically, the sum of the 3 numbers is 75, because the mean has to be like the sum over the amount of numbers. So the amount of numbers is 3. So the sum over the amount of numbers 3 is equal to 25 is the mean. So the sum has to be 75. So the original sum is 75 plus the new sum, which we're gonna just call x, divided by the amount of more numbers now. So we have 3 and 2 more numbers, so we have 5. Now the new mean is 30. So 75 plus x is equal to 150, and x is equal to 75. So the new sum is 75 of the 2 numbers. So if the new sum is 75, the sum of the 2 numbers is 75, then the mean of those 2 numbers is 75 divided by 2, which is equal to basically 37.5. Uh, it's basically just that simple. Okay. Number 10. How many divisors does 113,400 have? So what you're gonna do is that you're gonna factor this out. You can do this by hand or use your calculator. If you use your calculator, it's much faster. So number factor 113400. You get 2 to the third times 3 to the 4 times 5 to the 2 times 7. So basically what you're gonna do is that add you're gonna add 1 to each exponent. So 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. 2 plus 1 is 3, and 1 plus 1 is 2. And then if you multiply all these exponents, they're gonna give you the total amount of divisors. The amount of divisors that that number has, basically. This works for every single number. Basically, if you just have a number and you factor it and you add 1 to every single exponent and multiply those numbers, they're gonna give you the amount. So it's 4 times 5 times 3 times 2, which gets you 120. So you have 120. For this question, they might want to specify a little bit more because sometimes you might want to question because there could be positive and negative divisors. So if this question includes negative divisors, it's gotta be 240 because because every single divisor can have a negative divisor. So let's say you have 1 is your divisor, right? You can also have -1, right? You're just adding a negative in front. But yeah, sometimes you're gonna specify saying positive or negative. But if they just say divisors in general, I guess you could just say it's just a positive one, but I'm not exactly sure. So you might want to question them if they ever ask this question. But in general, you probably just want to put the positive one because they never specified, so you're not technically wrong. How many distinct sets of how many distinct sets of three positive integers have a mean of 9, a median of 10, and no unique mode? So how many sets of three positive integers? So it has to be positive and the median is 10. So it has to be 10 here. So if we have something like x here, this thing has to be like 9 minus x because it has a mean of 9. Actually, no, that's mean of 9. The median is 10. So this number plus a number, the last number, has divided by 3 has equal 9. So that equals 27. So that's 17 minus x, basically. Because then this has added up together to equal a mean of 9 in no unique mode. So x cannot be 10 or x cannot be 7 because then it doesn't work. So how many distinct sets of positive integers? So if x is equal to 1, we have 1, 10, and 16. 0 is not positive, so you can't start with 0. It's not positive or negative. And then you have 2, and then you have 10 and 15. 3, uh, 10, and basically, we'll just actually not write the 10 because 10's got to be into it. We just got to look for x and 17 minus x. So we have 1 and 16. 2, 15, 3, 14, 4, 13, 5, 12, 6, 11, 7, 10, and 8, 9. And then basically, you're not going to go any further because it's 8, 9. It's kind of just repeated again. So it's technically the exact same set. So it can have a unique mode, so right? So you can have another 10. So you can have another 10 right here. And none of these digits can be repeated. So you're technically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there is wait, let me look at this. And no unique mode. So 8, 9, 17, 27 divided by 3. 9 has been a 9 as 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh yeah. Sorry. You can't have 8, 9 also, because 8, 9 because 8 and 9 are both lower than 10, but 17 minus x has to be greater than 10 because it has to have a mean of 10. So one number has to be bigger than 10, and one number has to be smaller than 10. So there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So the answer is 6. Um, Question 12. Four numbers are added to the set 1, 2, 4, 4, 9, decreasing the mean, median, and the mode each by 1. What is the least integer in the new set? So it has to decrease the mode by 1, each by 1. That means at least 3 of the new numbers has to be 3, basically. Because the mode right now is 4. So for the mode to decrease by 1, it has to become 3. And since there's already 2 4s, that means I need to have at least 3 3s. And you can't decrease the mode to like 2 3s and 2 4s because technically it's not gonna be decreasing the mode. So technically you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, and 9. So 3 of the new numbers is gonna be 3. So now we just need to and to decrease the mean by 1 also. So it's gonna be the mean for the group of 5 numbers is 1, 2, 4, 4, 9. Divided by 5 is 4. So the new mean has to be 3. So it has to be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 4 plus 9 plus x divided by the 5 and 9 divided by 9 has to equal 3. So 9 times sorry, wait. We have 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 4 plus 9 is 29. So 29 plus the last number, let's call it x, divided by the total amount of numbers, which is 5 plus 4 is 9, has equaled the new mean. So the original mean was 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 4 plus 9 divided by 5 is 4. So the new mean has to be equal 3. So that's 27. So x has to equal negative 2. So this is negative 2. And the median is 4 around here. So just to make sure that the new median is 3, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the new median is 3. So yes, that works. So what's the least integer in the new set? The least integer is negative 2. This takes a little bit of logic, not really that much not really that difficult. Okay, number 13. During a party, a total of 136 handshakes occurred. If each person shook hands once with each of the other person, how many people were at the party? So technically, you're just gonna use combinations. Because think about it, you're gonna have let's say like 5 people, right? So basically, we have 5 people. So let's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one's gotta shake hands with this one, this one, this one, and this one. So that's gonna be 4. Right? And this one is only gonna shake hands with this one, this one, this one, because this one already shook hands with this one. So there you're gonna add 3. And it guy goes down, so it's gonna be like 2 and then 1. So that adds up to 10. So if you use 5 choose 2, which is just 5 factorial over 2 factorial over 3 factorial, you have 5 times 4 divided by 2, which is equal to 10. Because you have 5 numbers and you choose 2, and you don't care because it's 5 choose 2 and not 5 permutate 2, because permutate means that that means like this thing, what this handshake with this person is not the same as this handshake with this person. So so they're counting twice the amount when you only want one of the amounts. So it's just the amount of people choose 2 is equal to the amount of handshakes, which is 136. So the way that I think about choosing combinations and permutations, that is really simple. For if I want lower numbers, like if I think the number is lower than it's supposed to be, I'm going to choose combinations. If I want it to be higher than I think the order matters, and I think there should be the number is just higher, then I'm going to use permutation. But since I know it's going to be lower because you can't like shake hands with the same person again, then it's going to be lower. So using combinations, you have x factorial all over 2 factorial over x minus 2 factorial is equal to 136. Okay. You could do this arithmetically because technically what x factorial stands for is just x times x minus 1 times x minus 2 times x minus 3, etc. Basically, because it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, etc. So basically, you're just gonna do it this way. And if this one is the same case as like x times 2 times sorry, x times 2 times x minus 2 times x minus 3, etc., then you're just gonna have to cancel out all those digits away. So you're only left with x minus 1 and times x. So you have x times x minus 1 divided by 2, because 2 factorial is just 2 times 1, is equal to 136. So that gets x squared minus x is equal to 136 times 2, which equals to 272. And you could basically just now solve it like a quadratic. So you have x squared minus x minus 272 is equal to 0. 272 to 0 could be factored out to 16 and 17. So x minus 17, x plus 16. You basically just use your calculator for this. So x will equal to 17 because x has to be positive. Because you can't have like negative like people. So that's question 13. Question 14. A survey was given to 32 students in Miss Dalton's English class. 19 so there's 32 students, and 19 of the students like apples, 19 like blueberries, and 11 like cherries. 5 students like all three, and 3 did not like any of these, like any of the 3. 2 students like only apples and cherries. How many students like blueberries and exactly one other fruit? So they like blueberries, and so we're looking for if they like blueberries and apples. Uh, or blueberries and cherries. So we're gonna have circle because we're gonna make a Venn diagram basically. So it's a Venn diagram like this. So we have apples with A, blueberries B, and cherries, which is C. So we have 32 students, and 3 of them didn't like any of them because that's what it said, and 2 only like apple, and 2 students like only apples and cherries. So apples and cherries, only 2 of them like it. Um, 5 students like all 3, so 5 are here. And 19 students like all apples, basically. And 16, let's put 19 away here. And 16 like all blueberries. And 11 like cherries. And okay, so that's basically it. So we just need to find the amount for this blueberries and apples and blueberries and apples and blueberries and cherries, basically. So we need these 2. So I guess we could like individually find each one. Let's see how that one works. So we have this plus this plus this. Actually, we could just do some like base kind of like math here. So imagine you do this, right? So you imagine you add all the things for A, so that's 19, right? And then you add all of them for B, right? So that's 16 because there's 16 blueberries. But you're overlapping so basically, when you ignore the C for now, right? And you add A and you add B, right? You're overlapping this number. Let's call this X, and we'll call this one Y. We're overlapping X and 5 twice. So we're gonna have to minus a X and we're gonna have to minus a 5. And if we add C, right, we're gonna overlap Y, 2, and 5 another time. So you got minus a Y, minus a 5, and minus a 2. And if we add these all together, right, we add basically when you add this, and you subtract all the ones that overlap, basically you just have the amount that's total in all 3 circles without the 3. So there's 32, right? 32 minus the 3 is 29. So this has to equal to 29 basically. Sorry. So this will equal to 29. So let's kind of move this over and kind of do the math. Because we just need to find x and y. So we're going to have 19 plus 16 minus a 5, minus a 5, and minus a 2. So you get 23. So you get 23 minus the x minus a y would be because x and y is equal to the 29. So wait, is that right? No, I forgot a number. I forgot the 11. You gotta add the 11 back. So 11. Sorry about that. So that gets not 23. That gets, let me take this out. You have to add the 11. I forgot the 11. And then you get wait, what's that? 19 plus 16 plus 11 minus 5 minus 5 minus 2 is 34. So 34 minus x minus y has to be equal to 29. So 34 minus 29 is equal to 5. So move x and y to the other side, so x plus y is equal to 5. And that's what we need to look for. We need to look for the x and we need to look for the y, add them together. The amount for 14 is equal to 5, so that's your answer. Okay. Number 15. Tim is out flying his kite. The slope of the kite string is 7/4. If Tim's hands are 4 feet above the ground, and the kite is 800 feet horizontally from Tim's hand, how high is the kite above the ground? So we have my boy Tim, and we need to move his hands up. His hands up are 4 feet above the ground, and then he's flying a kite, basically. That's in the slope 7/4. And the kite is 800 feet horizontally from his thing, so it's 800 feet. So we just need to look for basically the height. So we have this height and basically this height right here because the height of the hand is 4. So we had to add 4, basically. Um, Hands are 4 feet above the ground. Slope of the kite string is 4, 5. Tim's hands are 4 feet above the ground. Oh wait, it's 4 feet above the ground. So I'm guessing they're saying this entire thing is 4 feet. Uh, sure, okay. So basically, since we know the slope is just 7/4, and h over 800 is just 7/4 because that's the slope, then basically, 4 times 200 is 800, so just have 7 times 200, so that's 1,400, right? And then you just add the 4, so you get 1,440 above feet above the ground. That's I mean, yeah, 1,404 feet above the ground. Okay, number 16. A turtle and rabbit are racing against each other. The turtle travels at 1.1 miles per hour, while the rabbit travels at a leisurely 6.6 miles per hour. The turtle starts 4 hours before the rabbit. If the turtle leaves the starting line at 12 p.m., at what time does the rabbit catch up to the turtle? So we gotta find the amount of time first when they catch up to each other. So the turtle starts at 4 hours before the rabbit, and it moves at 1.1 miles per hour. So 4 times of 1.1 is 4.4. So let's say the turtle is equal to 4.4 plus the 1.1, and x is the amount of hours. And the rabbit starts at basically at the 6.6 out at that 0 hour. So they're gonna be so at 0 time the turtle is at zero already 4.4 miles away because they already start 4 hours before. So now you gotta find when they're equal each other. So 6.6x is equal to 4.4 plus 1.1x. So subtracting that gets 5.5 x equals to 4.4. And 4.4 divided by 5.5 is equal to 4 over 5. Just make sure that's right. Yep. Equals to 4/5 of an hour. So 4/5 and an hour is 60 minutes, right? So multiply by 60, and then you 5 is 12, and then yes, 48. So in 48 minutes it will be catching up with the rabbit will be catching up with the turtle. So um if it start at 12 o'clock p.m., it's gonna be at 16. It's gonna meet it at um the turtle starts starting line at 12 p.m. But since the race starts at like 4 hour starts in 4 hours because the turtle got a head start, it's gonna start at 4 p.m. plus the time when it's gonna catch up, so it's at 4:48. Is the time it catches up for the rabbit. So it's gonna be at 4:48 p.m. That's your answer. Okay. Number 17. In your sock drawers, there are 20 white socks, 16 red socks, and 6 blue socks. If you take one pair from the drawer at random, what's the probability that the socks would be red? So, what's the probability that you get red the first time, which is just 16 out of the total amount, which is 20 plus 16 plus 6. That's 22, and that makes 42. Since you already got one red socks, that means one of them is 41. And the next red socks, since you already took one from 16, you have 15 more to go. So, using your calculator, we have 16 divided by 42 times 15 divided by 41, and you get 40 all over 287. You can also do this by hand, but I won't recommend it because you might make a mistake. Like if you're allowed to calculate, just use your calculator most of the time. In what number base does 355x minus 2x times 27x equal to 388x? Okay, so we're just gonna write everything in base 10 because this right now it's in base x. So this number would be equal to 3x squared plus 8x plus 5. Because that's to how to read a base to convert it to base 10 is that you just have the first one multiplied by x to 0, then multiplied by x to the power 1, and then the next one by x to the power 2. So that's how it works. So you see how that works. 385 x to the power 2, x to 1, and x to 0. And this is just 2 times 2x plus 7. And then that is all equal to 3x squared plus 3x plus 8. So basically that's equal. So using that idea, we could already cross out some numbers. The 3x squared could already be canceled out. And then from there we get minus 4x, so that's 4x. Because 8x minus 4x is 4x. And then you have minus 14, so that makes minus 9. And you have equal to 3x plus 8. So move the x to the other side. So x is move 9 to the other side, add to the 8. So you get 17. So x is equal to 17. So number 8's answer is just in base 17, which is in base 10. You could write 17 base 10, but you really don't need to. You just write 17. Okay. And number 19. A line with slope negative 1/3 passes through a point on the positive x-axis. Okay, so you have negative 1/3 passes through a point on the positive x-axis. So it has to be like from here, positive x-axis. So it has to be higher than right here. Imagine this parallel. You have to move this over. So let's be here. Ish. The slope, the triangle determined by this line in the coordinate axis has an area of 294. Determine the x-intercept of the line written as a coordinate pair. So let's kind of move this equation up. So it looks like this. So the slope is negative 1/3, right? So basically it's gonna be rise or run, which is 1/3. So it's gonna have to be in this ratio. So it's gonna be like say 1x times 3x. This is gonna be a slope negative 1/3. So now based on that, we could use the area, which is 1x times 3x times 1/2 is equal to the area, which is 294. Because that's the length, and this is the length, and then multiply to get the area, divided by 2 is 294. So we have 3 over 2 x squared is equal to 294. Using your calculator, 294 times 2 divided by 3, and then square root it, you get 14. X has to be positive, so it's not going to be negative 14. Because then it's going to be on the negative side, like here. So it doesn't make sense. So it's going to be 14. So x is going to equal to 14, so drawing that out, we're going to have something right here. So x equals 14, so this is 14 over here. 14 times 3 is 2842. So the coordinate is from here to here, which is 42 in distance. So it's just going to be 42, 0. Basically that simple. Question 20. Convert 0.378 into base 4. The subscript in your answer is optional, okay? So let's convert this to base 10 first. So you know how like if it's like 1, 2, 3 base 8, it's just gonna be 8 times 1 times 8 squared plus 2 times 8 plus 3 times 8, 3 times 8 to 1 times 8 to 0. Well, basically, if you're gonna go to decimal, you just gotta go to 8 to negative 1, 8 to negative 2, 8 to negative 3, etc. Basically. So using that idea, since 3 is just the first decimal, it's just gonna be 0. We're just gonna have sorry. We're gonna have oops. We're gonna have 3 times 0. Sorry, 3 times 8 to the negative 1 plus 7 times 8 to the negative 2. And that's gonna be in base 10. So using that, we have 3 over 8. Let's put in like fraction. Plus 7 over 8 times 8 is 64. So 3 divided by 8 plus 7 divided by 64 is equal to 31 over 64, basically, in base 10. Okay, so remember that, 31 over 64. 31 over 64. So that's in our base 10. Now we just gotta do it in base 4. So what number? Let's just have 31 divided by 64 and get a decimal. So we gotta have something around like, sorry, approximately 0.4. Actually, it's gonna be 0.484375 exactly, basically. So and then you're gonna have since this is gonna be in decimal because 4 to 0 is just 1 and 4 to 1 is 4, right? So it's just gonna get bigger if the exponent is increasing. So since this is already in a decimal, this already tells me that it's gonna be has to be in the decimal. So can it have anything like 4 to the negative 1? Because it's supposed to be a times 4 to the negative 1 and then adds a bunch of other numbers like plus b to the 4 to the negative 2 plus like c times 4 to the negative 3, etc. So we're just gonna see if this is possible. So 4 a to the 4 to the negative 1, because 4 to the negative 1 is equal to 1/4, which is equal to 0.25. So can I multiply this by 2? No, that'll get 0.5, which is bigger than this number, so I can't. So this could only be 1. So the first number is 0.25. So we already have let's already write the numbers away. So we have 1 for the first number for the 4 to the negative 1 power. So we have minus 0.25. So we take that out. So we get 0.234375. And now we're going to have equal to 4 to the negative 2, which is equal to 1 over 16. 1 divided by 16 in decimal is 0.0625. So how many numbers can I multiply this by? So it's going to be like some number multiplied by 4.425, and it has to be less than 0.234375. So we can multiply by like say 4. Sorry, it's not gonna work with 4, so maybe 3. Yep, it could go with 3, so it's gonna be a 3. So 3 times 0.0628 is 0.1875. So let's take this out. Okay, delete. And then you're gonna subtract that away. So we're gonna have 234375 minus 1875, which gets you point 0.2325. Wait, oops, that's wrong. We have 5, 7, 3. That turns into a that gets 9, so that's 14. That's 8. So you add a 5 at 1. Wait, am I doing this wrong? 1875. Okay, subtract that. Sorry about this. I don't know why I'm struggling on this. Okay, so that's you add an 8 here, so that's 13. Add 1, that's 8. So add a 6. That's 14. That's 9. And add a 4. So let's beat this number. So you have 0.234375. 1875. So yeah, point 0.046 875. And now we have 4 to the negative 3. So 4 to the power of negative 3 is 1 over 64, which is 0.015625. So what number can we multiply this by? We'll probably multiply this by 3, which gets us 0.046875, which is exactly the right number. So we don't need this. Okay. And delete. Sorry about that. I can't really erase anymore. Let's just erase like that. We have minus, and I get 0. So there's nothing remaining. So the last one is 3. So that's all. So that's what we're gonna have. So we have 133 in base 4. I mean, sorry. This is a negative 1, so you gotta write in proper notation, which is 0.133 base 4. It's gotta be 4 to the negative 1, 4 to the negative 2, and 4 to the negative 3. So that's how you're gonna write their answer. 0.133 base 4. Yeah. So that basically completes everything for the CCML Algebra 1 Contest 3 2016-2017 Division A. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next math record.